Welcome back to the broadcast. Well, your kids are out of school, perhaps for spring break, and you were wondering how to keep the peace as a mom or as a dad. How do we do that? Janina, please explain.
How do we keep the peace? I think when I work with a lot of moms that come into my office and they're just really overwhelmed and they feel anxious, I say, what are you doing right now? And I have them write down a list of everything they've committed to, because so often we commit to saying yes to, like, I'll volunteer, I'll help out at the church, I'll help out at the school, and next minute your list gets really long. So what I tell them, I said, write down everything you're doing right now. And then they realize how long it is, and I said, now start crossing out the things you don't need to do. Start saying no to things. And so reducing that list right then and there makes a big deal. And then every day when you get up, look at your list, because I know, do y'all have lists?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You're like, oh, list, I understand.
Yes.
So think of like the 2 or 3 things that you have to get done, and so you're not overwhelmed if you have a list of 10 things that day, but just kind of reduce the list for the day. But of course, you also have that longer list of things you just have to do. I understand that. But that can help a lot.
How do you deal with the anxiety? I know you said learn how to say no, and I got to that point a while ago because I just had so many
It's a big
things
deal.
going on.
That's a big deal, though.
But then there's anxiety with worrying about what people are thinking about you because you're saying no.
Yeah, that's a cognitive distortion. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. That's a negative thought that's going through your head, like, oh, but she's not going to like me, or she's going to be upset with me.
They think I'm a...
They think, and you're going to start labeling yourself.
Right.
And so I'm actually going to talk more about that. That's a whole, like, another big segment of a lot of things we can talk about, cognitive distortions that go through our head.
Interesting.
But it's a good point. With those negative thoughts that go through our head, we have to stop ourselves and really say, okay, let me reframe that, because that's not true. I'm not a bad person for saying no to something. No is a real powerful word, and for so many of us that are perfectionists or type A people, which a lot of moms are, and we want to say yes to everything, say no is really, really hard. One of the other things I talk about with clients, and this is just for anybody, and I think we can all do this right now, is take time once a day to do some deep breathing. Do any of you all do the deep breathing?
No.
No, but I need to.
Okay, so we're going to do that right now.
Definitely need to.
So sometimes when you're just feeling anxious, I'm going to show you an exercise so you can naturally start working on your breath right. So you put your hand on your stomach, and everyone at home could be doing this, and you just going to breathe.
Everyone at home do the same thing.
And when you breathe in, make sure, it takes about 4 seconds, breathe in, make sure you're filling up your stomach, and then
Filling
breathe out.
up?
Yeah, filling up. It should be filling up with air, and then breathe it out.
I have anxiety that I'm not doing it right.
And do that 4 seconds out and in, and do that, sit in a chair, calm yourself, close your eyes, and do that deep breathing, in and out 10 times. And you'll be amazed of how much your anxiety is reduced. And that's one of the big things I talk to many clients about, teens and everything, that calms you down. And then when you're facing a stressful situation, you'll remember, I just did take a few deep breaths. But deep breathing is really important as well.
They say that about meditation, too. I was just watching something that said that if you are one of those people who can't meditate because your brain keeps going wild like mine does, to concentrate on your breathing, to just bring it back to just listening to yourself breathe, and it takes you back to that.
It does, and a lot of studies have talked about yoga, the importance of yoga and how much that helps a lot. It reduces, if you have sleep problems, it helps with mild depression.
Yeah, I was about to bring up sleep problems. Like, what when your body is tired but your mind doesn't stop? Because I know whether you're a mother or you're a businesswoman, I mean, we all have so many to-do lists that when you go to bed at night, you're thinking, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I need to do this, and you can't sleep because your brain is going a million miles an hour. What would you suggest for that?
Right, there's a few things, and I think there's the basic things you hear about is the importance of exercise, eating healthy, and meditation. And you're laughing, but I'm sure there's a reason.
Our producer just said alcohol in our ear, like, oh, just have a glass of wine and that'll put you to sleep.
Somebody said it
Well, a
before
glass
me.
of wine can help, and I don't think you drink wine every day.
It does give you a little...
That's true. I'm not.
It is Wine Down Wednesday,
Dr.
right?
is not going to endorse wine. But no, that's a good point, though, and it's just really learning how to calm your body down with yoga or exercising. You can get really tired. If you exercise that afternoon, you'll be calmer at night, and it really... It reduces that stress hormone in your body. It releases endorphins. Exercise is a big key. And I know someone was talking about exercise as a family, but incorporate that in your life 3 times, 4 times a week, 30 minutes a day, and making sure you find the time, because exercise is so important with helping reduce anxiety as well.
It really does work.
And the list is really good, right? Like actually sitting, I know I do that when my mind is racing. If I actually get up and write down what I need to do, then I'm not thinking about it too
Yes,
much.
writing it down, like Courtney, you're talking about, you have a lot of things to do. Just put it down on paper, because of myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Well, I just need to write it out, get it out of my mind onto paper, and then it's there, and then it does help.
I
and
call it
calms you down.
downloading it. Just get it out of your brain.
It does.
Download on paper.
Doesn't it make a
makes so much
difference when you
better.
do that? Yeah. So those are some good.
What about when you deal with would you use these same techniques if you're dealing with the guilt over, like, your child wants to go to a specific summer camp or a sports camp, because they can be really expensive, and you know what? Maybe mom just can't afford it. We can't afford it this year.
Right.
How do you deal with that sort of guilt?
The guilt, just mommy guilt. If
Yeah.
we're moving on to guilt, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? It's learning to self-talk and tell yourself, you know what? There's a lot of great things you do for your child, I'm sure. And reminding your child of the things that you can do. And that sometimes financially, maybe you can't afford it.
I was going to ask you, is it okay to just flat out say, we just can't afford that this year?
Yes.
You know, I mean, I hate
Yeah.
to break your bubble. We don't print 50s at night.
Yeah, and even if you can't afford it,
You
it's
don't?
really
At
setting.
least not that anyone knows
and
about.
it's setting the
don't.
boundaries and limits with that, because some of us may have a lot of money and we want to say yes to our only child, and we can say yes, but we have to learn to say no, because your child's going to get spoiled, and so you're learning to.
So they're not going to need therapy when they get older because we said, no, you can't go to camp because, you know, like that's my fear.
They're learning to deal. They're going to have to deal with that, and they might not deal with it okay initially. That's teaching them how to manage their emotions, and that's another topic we can talk about soon too.
You need to come every day. There's something we can find to talk
I
about.
want you to
all
tell us
different
how we
ways.
can get to church as a happy family, because, you know, the feuding that goes on before you get to church.
It's just funny. That's a whole reality show for everyone on the way
They
to
serve
church.
more in
Yes.
church.
Yes.
You can get more from Dr. Nina by going to her website, and you can get there by going to ours at thebroadcasttv.com. Coming up, we have some delicious drink recipes that will help kick your St. Patrick's Day celebration into motion in a real tasty way. And one of the key ingredients includes Dublin Bottling Works sodas. Yum, so stay with us.